Okay, we want to welcome you all to our city council meeting tonight, November 6, 2024. We'll go ahead and get started. We will have an invocation by Councilmember Beck, followed by a pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Egbert.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this evening we have to come together as a council and discuss matters important to our town. We're grateful for where we live and for all participants and residents in our city. And we're grateful for a smooth election day yesterday and grateful to live in a place where democracy is cherished. We ask you for a blessing this evening with guidance and with wisdom. And we love thee and we pray these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We recognize our mayor's absence. He's unable to join us tonight. He's with his family, or is out of town, I guess. And one of our council members, Reed Carlson, is joining us remotely, so you'll hear him but not see him. So we don't have any public forum. Nobody has signed up for the public forum, so we will move on to the consent agenda. For those in, yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry, ceremonial item. I'm so sorry, I apologize. I'm looking right at Officer Fernandez. Chief Jackson.
Yeah, we're excited. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're excited. This is Officer Fernandez. He came to us back around August time, graduated from the academy. He's out on training. He's had some significant experiences in these first few weeks, so we're excited for him. We recognize that he's here supported by his family that's seated behind me, and then some of the officers from the police department, Sergeant Croft, Officers Miller, Larson, and Walker are here, so we appreciate them coming. Swearing in is an important part of when you take this position. The things that he's going to be asked to swear to today, he'll be held to. We feel like they're important in this position, especially the code of ethics and things like that. So we'll ask Camille to swear in Officer Fernandez and have him come up. And stand right here, and there you go.
I, Officer Fernandez,
do solemnly swear that I will support, uphold, and defend the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same.
Furthermore,
Furthermore,
I swear that I have not,
I swear that I have not,
do not, and will not
belong
belong to any party, group, or organization
to any group, party, or organization
which advocates the overthrow
which advocates the overthrow
of the government
of the government
of the United States,
of the United States,
the State of Utah,
the State of Utah,
and the City of Mapleton.
and the City of Mapleton.
By force, fear, or violence,
By force, fear, violence,
terror, or any other manner.
terror, or any other manner.
I do further swear
I do further swear
that I will fairly and equally enforce
that I will fairly and equally enforce
the laws of the United States,
the laws of the United States,
the State of Utah,
the State of Utah,
and the City of Mapleton,
and the City of Mapleton,
without anger, malice, or prejudice,
without anger, malice, or prejudice,
and that I will abide by the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics,
that will abide by the law code,
Law
sorry.
Enforcement
law enforcement,
Code of Ethics,
code of ethics,
and the policies and procedures
and the policies and procedures
of Mapleton Police Department.
of Mapleton Police Department.
I take this oath
I take this oath
and obligation freely,
and obligation freely,
without mental reservation
without mental reservation,
and without purpose of evasion.
and without purpose of evasion.
I hereby swear and promise
I hereby swear and promise
that I will discharge the duty
that I will discharge the duty
of this,
of this,
my chosen profession,
my chosen profession,
with honor, fidelity,
with honor, fidelity,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So glad to have you.
On behalf of the city, Officer Fernandez, and to your family, congratulations and welcome to Mapleton. And we'll see you on the road.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
And I really don't know I'm going that fast, just so you know. It's not on purpose. It's not on purpose. Ask the other ones. Okay, we have a presentation item. Logan, this is a donation to Mapleton Elementary Schools, and Logan will tell us more about that fundraiser we did.
Yeah, real quick, just a couple of just backstory, then I'll invite our representatives here from our schools. We have Cammie Thompson, who is the principal at Mapleton Elementary, Sydney Sharp, who is the assistant at Maple Ridge, and then Mike Sorensen, who's our principal at Hollow Creek. This year, so we started a couple years ago our Harvest Bake Off, and if you remember our first year, the donations that we received, we used as warming gifts, housewarming gifts, not housewarming, warming gifts for the
Shelter.
The
Food and Care
shelter.
Coalition.
the Food and Care Coalition. And so each year, we've tried to find things that, as we get these funds, that we have a good thing that they can be used for. We have great turnout in our event, and we want to make sure that its impact is felt. One of the cool things that we did this year, if you didn't see, we had a junior division for the first year, and it was a hit. So we had 16 junior bakers this year, which was awesome. We didn't know what to expect. And they were from all different elementary schools and just different places in our community, and it was so fun to see them come and their excitement. And, when the judges were asking them questions, just seeing their eyes light up of like, I can answer that. I put that in. And then we had 13 adult entries this year. So it was a great turnout. So this year we had decided as a staff that we wanted to raise some funds to help pay off school lunch balances in our local schools. So what we're able to do is take the money that was earned this year and also from last year's donations. And so last year we collected $760 and this year was $740. And so tonight, what we're going to be doing is presenting $500 to each of those schools, and hopefully it can, help some of our local kids. So with that, I'll invite a representative to come up here.
Let's get some pictures. Do you want to get pictures for Madison?
Thank you.
They're heavy duty. They are nice. You can put it on your wall. And one real quick thing too, especially why we've got this group up, we can't do a lot of what we do without the partnership that we have with Nebo School District and our schools, and specifically our administrations. They're a huge asset to what we do, and their facilities obviously open up to us and their kids, and so we couldn't have a great department without great partners like these guys, and so that's why we felt it was really appropriate to be able to do that for them this year, so.
I love to see the bake sale and expand and live on, and this Scarecrow Spectacular might be one of my favorite events.
It was a lot of
And I hope that it
fun.
will continue to grow and more people will contribute and participate in the bake sale, and it's been fun to see that this year, so I'm excited
It
to
was
see
it
that.
was really fun with the junior bake sale. That
Yeah.
actually added a whole new element to the activity and the
Yeah.
event.
I ended up with way more treats and goodies than I should ever eat, but I have an entire freezer full of goodies for the winter. Okay, now public forum. We don't have anybody on the public forum. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll just make a couple comments. I'm really glad that we're making these steps to improve the sidewalks in the city. I know this has been a long time coming, and so seeing this on the consent agenda is really, really nice. Then also regarding item number 3, I don't know if we'll talk about this later in the administration reports, but it's neat to get this donation to help with helping this new park come along. And it's only been 4 months since we received that donation, so already making the improvements towards this park will be great for the south end of the town, and it's going to help the Parks and Rec department a lot too. So just really grateful for the good things happening in this agenda.
Great. Is that a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Great. We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Beck, second by Councilmember Egbert. Reed?
Carlson, yes. Carlson, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Okay, we'll move on now. Bryce, we are waiting for the auditor to arrive, so as we wait for him, we'll move on to the public hearing item. This is, Sean, we'll let you introduce this topic.
Sure. Thank you, members of the council. So this parcel is about 3 acres in size. It's located on 8 South and Main Street. It has an existing home on it. It fronts on Main Street. There's the old 8 South dirt road that runs along the southern boundary of this parcel. That's currently not dedicated to Mapleton City. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property from A2 to RA1 with the TDR overlay. Their intent is to sell off the 1 acre with the house, and then the rear 2 acres will be combined with the adjacent lots in the Thatch Hill subdivision. Those 2 neighboring lots want to purchase it and add it to their lots, and then they would sell off the 1 acre with the home on it. This is the aerial, so you see Main Street on the right and that 8th South on the bottom. And this is the proposed, what they would propose. So you see the 1 acre lot with the home, and then the expansion of lots, those 2 lots at the back of the Thatch Hill subdivision. And just an aerial image of that.
So if they're combining with those other parcels, will we then see, I guess they don't have to do anything, they just put a fence around it? That they have the option then to subdivide it or develop it in the future? Got it.
Right, so that you see the crosshatch marks on the screen, that's the right-of-way that will be dedicated to the city to ensure that if the neighbor to the south decides they want to develop before this property owner, we have the right-of-way for them to be able to put in the road and do the improvements.
And today we're voting on this as a receiving site for TDRs, but it won't be applied necessarily yet. Is that correct?
Correct. They're not proposing to subdivide it or use TDRs at this time. If you look at the general plan, its designation is for 1 acre zone or for half acre with the use of TDRs. All the neighborhoods you can see in those crosshatches on the screen, those are all already approved as TDR receiving sites. So it's very much consistent with what's in the neighborhood and what's happened around it. So staff's recommendation is to approve the rezone request with the conditions in the staff report.
I think it's important to clarify for the public that this zone change would bring it in conformance with the general plan.
Correct. And no new lots are being created currently proposed. There may in the future, but not now.
Okay, this is a public hearing item, so we will open it up for any member of the public who would like to comment. Seeing as there are no members of the public present, we will now close public hearing and have discussion or questions amongst the council.
Just another, another point of the general plan, of course, is to provide adequate sites for receiving TDRs, and I think this falls in line with that, especially with conforming to the general area, so I'm supportive of this.
I don't have any concerns. I've been looking forward to a resolution to finish 800 South, so I think this is a really great solution that balances all of those things.
Same. I think it's a good application of general plan, and for now, at least, it still preserves some open space. So.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I have a question.
Reed, go ahead.
How will 780 South be completed on the north side? Will that have sidewalk and curb and gutter?
Where are you talking, Reed?
Okay, I assume 780 will be paved. It'll be a city highway. Will it also have curb and gutter and sidewalk?
You're talking 8 South?
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't currently, but once somebody applies to actually subdivide the properties is when they would install those improvements.
And the land is being dedicated to the city at this point?
Will the road be paved then?
At some point, yes, when somebody when one of the property owners, either on these lots or the neighbor to the south develops, is when the road would get installed.
This is just an entitlement now for future development.
Stay the way it is now. Is that correct?
Reed, we can't hear you clearly. Can you restate that?
So the current condition of the highway right now, 780 south, will remain that way until they go ahead and develop the property?
Correct. Unless, if the city decided it was of such importance that we wanted to front the costs, we could do that. So this allows that option. It's probably not likely in the near future, but it may. It may be that we prefer to do it before it develops, but most likely it'll just wait until the property's developed.
And Sean, Reed's probably, it sounded like maybe he's talking about the house, existing home, just in front of there off of Main Street. Is that house maybe 780 South? Is that what he's meaning by that?
I'm not sure.
But
Yeah, I
I'm
think
wondering
that's
if
the
he's
house
talking
number.
about.
Yeah, yep, so same thing, that when the property's subdivided, the condition is that they put those improvements in.
But on both sides, on the
Yeah.
main side and. Okay.
Correct.
And is the land being dedicated to the city at this point, or? Okay.
Yeah, it'd be now.
Okay. If there are no more questions or comments, is there a motion?
Not on the paper in front of me, but I'll make a motion to approve the rezone request for the 3.1 acre parcel located at 780 South Main Street from A2 to RA1 with a transfer development right receiving site overlay.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made by Councilmember Beck and seconded by Councilmember Garrett.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Reed?
Carlson, yes.
Okay, the motion passes. It appears we're still waiting on the auditor to come. We can, Bryce, or we can move on to administrative reports while we're waiting.
No. You need the audit. You got digital?
Okay, let's do administrative reports as we're waiting for the auditor to arrive. And then maybe we will play some Pictionary or something if there's extra time. You've got some quiet games we can play while we're waiting?
Rob needs some money to ask for.
Yeah,
All right.
It's always something.
All right, Sean.
nothing for me.
We're just finishing up with our projects. The PI line down the highway is basically done, just doing some cleanup work off of the shoulder. The connection from the well to tank line at Crow Canyon should be done later this week, and then just cleanup work after that. The canyon is, the new pavement is all paved. There is some patching. We're gonna come back in the spring and do some fuller patching on the work. We just ran out of weather to be able to do it all. So that'll be left until spring. There is.
Not since the paving, huh?
You're gonna see new pavement, and all of a sudden it goes all kind of quickly, and you're like, oh, no, what happened? And then the new pavement's going back up, so there's a stretch in there that we did not put new pavement in because we weren't doing any work through there.
Yeah, so the portions of the pavement, as y'all know, I mean, it was not a great condition roadway when we started the project. And there are parts of it that just completely fell apart. So the parts that that completely fell apart, we milled everything out, took everything out, and it's all brand new. There's a pretty good section from about the equestrian parking lot up to our new chlorinator building, where the pavement is in better condition, didn't totally fall apart, but there is a lot of patching that needs to be done. But we ran out of, by the time we were gotten everything else done to where we could do that, we came up against the end of the paving window. And so there is some to kind of hold us over until, through the winter, but there is more patching that needs to be done there.
That's only patching, so, you won't see new pavement.
Yeah, it won't be a
There, we
brand new
weren't
road.
required to do that, so, because when me and Sean drove up there, our first thought was like, oh, wow, that was kind of quick. And then keep driving, and you'll see the rest of it, but.
So we'll probably get comments from the public as they drive up there in the spring and the summer next year. They'll be
Until
like,
we get it done. Yeah, I mean,
"How come we
the
didn't
plan
just
is,
do the whole thing?" Yeah.
as soon as it gets warm enough, we'll go and do it. We'll get that scheduled out with Eccles. And then there is some, there is some plumbing that needs to be done before before we can put it fully online. But it is flowing out. It's being turned out back out into the creek right next to the Chlorinata building. But we're anticipating that by the end of the month, everything will be fully functional. So all those projects are just about finished up.
How's the reclamation of the trail up above the campground? Is that begun, or is they gonna start that in the spring?
No, that's basically done. There's a little bit more seed in areas that were missed that we need to put down, but I mean, yeah, it's been all regraded. A trail, the trail portion of where we want people to walk down, established. Everything else is kind of roughed up. It's been seeded. Yeah, they've done a lot of work up there. So
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I haven't been up there for a couple weeks. When do we close that gate, or can you remind me?
So the gate is closed right now until we get so the pavement is in, and there's some shouldering that needs to be done on the side. It's the road base to kind of shore up the end of roads that don't have curb and gutter. So that needs to go in, and then they'll open it up until the end of the month.
Okay.
So, and then it'll be closed until, April when they open it again. So
Yeah. Awesome.
people can walk up there, right, but no driving up there for the time being. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Reed, do you have an administrative report?
No, I think everything's going okay. I don't know if really anything to report.
Great.
It's hopping on the hill. Okay, some fun things going on. We had a league board meeting, and there's legislative policy committee is active. Some of the things we're working on is our response to what is our response as cities and towns of what's going on with interim sessions as they're starting to shape up the legislation that's going to come through. So we talked this week a lot about condos, revolving loan fund, short-term rentals are coming back. Surprise. Publicly owned land, there's likely going to be a requirement for us to audit all of the publicly owned land we have and identify what is excess, surplus land, and something about affordable housing with use of surplus land. So there's no definition about what exactly that is yet, so we're trying to help. Moderate income housing plan is going to come back and have changes, and we've been clear to express that cities aren't exactly sure what the point of some of this is. So you're going to see some of that coming up. We just need to tighten it up because there's just constant change on what cities have to report, and does it have any meaning? Is it accomplishing anything? There's a lot of cities that are being dinged for non-compliance, but it's on things that aren't substantial. And so that reporting related to zoning is coming up. By right density is coming back. So you remember our favorite one about, 8 units per acre, for example. Now what I'm reading is 8 units per acre everywhere, so long as 6 are deed restricted to be price capped and owner occupied, because we all want to administer that.
Price caps.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. There's a city-owned overlay that we're talking about. That's been kicked around for a while. There's parking. Again, we're going to bring back parking about what we can impose a requirement about 1 and 2 car or a carport or a garage on a 1 to 2 family dwelling that's owner occupied and considered affordable or attainable or starter, whatever word we're going to use this year. And let me see if there is a proposal to define the size of a garage across the state. So if you drive an F-150, good luck with fitting in what we're seeing as the definition, because it wouldn't fit. ADUs are coming back, new mandates potentially on those, so there's a good thing there. We are seeing, there's a lot of press coverage about HB 572, a development in Weber that the governor went and did the ribbon cutting for. That's, the developer is using the HB 572 incentives for developers. Basically, it's decreasing the cost of the interest rate so that they can build affordable, attainable starter homes basically 400,000 and below. The math isn't mathing for me on it.
Is this where the state's using the money from the retirement or their own
It's
investment funds?
discounted interest rate, yeah.
They're
Yes.
subsidizing it from their
Yes,
own
yes.
money? Yeah.
But what I'm curious, and in the simplest forms, and I asked this question to Representative White this week, who forwarded it to Steve Waldrop, so hopefully I'll have a response, but I gave the example of, so a builder builds a 1,500 square foot home that costs on a small lot, that costs $400,000 in this development, so it's $250 per square foot. Or they build a 2,000 square foot home on the same size lot for 400, or that example is 375, I think, and then they build the larger home on the same size lot for 425, and it's $215 per square foot. So is the builder capitalizing on the government policy by having a greater cost per square foot now? So the math isn't mathing for me. I could be wrong, but I've kicked it out there, and several other people. I was talking to a mayor from Salt Lake last night, from Salt Lake County, and has the same question. Like, it's not great for the buyer. So it's really interesting that this model, it seems to be that the cost per square foot is actually going to be higher on these 1,400 to 1,500 square foot homes than it would be if they built a 2,000 square foot home. And so a builder will make a greater profit on the smaller home by making it attainable under 400,000. So I'm curious how this is going to play out. I accept that I could be wrong on this, but simple math is, there's others who are concerned, so I'll let you know what Waldrop says. And I hope I'm wrong, because the last thing I want to do is have a technicality and say we're creating affordable or attainable homes, but they're not a good investment, right? So I think the politics are going to be kind of interesting on that. But so there's some things to watch for. There's a lot hopping right now, but I'll keep you posted.
Great,
Oh,
thank you.
Chief's out there. We have our the Community Preparedness Committee has our winter safety fair on Tuesday evening. We're going to do the hot dogs and stuff and really talk about winter-related issues for the community. So people should bring everyone out. It's a really
Where's that gonna be? Is that gonna be here?
Yeah, in here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Jessica.
NYCC, they're accepting applications this month for their new class of NYCC members next year. They will be actually adding a few more members because we're adding a few events. I think we have 3 more events that we'll be adding. But we have a real good group, and we have all the advisors are staying on board for another year, so I think it'll be a real good year for NYCC next year. They showed us a list of all the events, and they're curious about the Local Leaders Day, and when kind of an agenda comes out for that, and if the city would be providing transportation for that. So just some things for us to start thinking about.
I would hope so. I thought we had put some more money in the budget to support people going to the local officials day, but
Yeah, we're supportive of them going up there, so just let us know.
even if it's just
how
the
it can-
leadership, we had talked about whatever
Right.
the 5,
Mhm.
whatever officers look like there, but.
Yeah. And Logan, maybe later you can talk about the donation for the park. Just, you had mentioned to me that it equals about a $2.1 million donation towards the city to help with the fill. So just, again, really exciting about that. That's all I have.
Great. The only thing I have here, I've got to pull up the date here. In January, oh dear, Camille and is it the 14th of January? So the chamber event that we've sponsored the last few years is January 14th. Mayors and council members are all invited to participate. I think you all of us have participated in the past. Will you please put that on your calendars? And then we will have more, it would be it's been in the, it's been it's been a breakfast and a lunch, hasn't it?
But it'll be a lunch.
It'll be a lunch this year.
Lunch this time.
So plan on,
I liked the lunch better last year. It was good.
There,
I think
there-
it's way better,
Well,
yeah.
there
We'll
is
have
a
Camille
big
send an
state
email out in
event
the
that
morning.
week.
There
The
is?
Silicon Slopes Summit is that week, so there's a lot of people who will be at it, but I don't know how that affects Chamber. I'm supposed to be there, but I can figure it out.
Well, is it the whole week? So that might impact the, I'm sorry, what's the event?
The Silicon Slopes.
Silicon Slopes. Let's, I'll report back to the board and ask them to get feedback from Springville. That date may change then. I don't know how many of Springville will be participating in that. So pencil it in then,
Okay.
and I'll follow up.
You said the 14th for now?
Yep,
And the January 22nd is the local officials' day on the Hill.
okay. All right, so we'll circle back on that. And that's all I've got.
Just one little item for me. This was the first fall that we did not have a community cleanup for a few years. From what I've heard, we only had a couple citizens that were hoping that we would have had it. But we did go ahead and provide the dumpsters. Did we get any feedback on how well those were utilized that week?
Yeah, I'll get some numbers to you here in the next couple of weeks when we get the invoice, but
Okay,
yeah, it was,
Because we
It
did,
was getting used.
at least I did have a lot of people reach out saying, hey, when are the dumpsters coming? When are the dumpsters coming? So that was good. Appreciate you doing that. That's all I have.
Great. Camille? Corey?
working with Phil, and he's putting together a presentation to give you some updates on our fiber. Still really excited at how that's going, and as you seen a couple weeks ago, we hit our 1,000 connections, and
That's
that was pretty
great.
cool. And anyway, a lot of good things going with that, and the thing that I'm most impressed with is those thousand have connected. I'm just hearing good, positive feedback, and that's good to hear. So pretty excited about that project and how it's going with this. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Casey and I would like fiber.
It's getting there, huh?
It's great, by the way.
Yep. I made it. I'm on.
I need it before the
To go into,
Before the Super Bowl. Bryce, your moment of truth is coming momentarily. Logan, do you have anything else? Bryce, you might be at the microphone a little longer, so we'll just segue into that.
more time.
Just two quick things. The Veterans Drive is tomorrow night. So if you can join us, we'd like to see you. 1200 north to 400 north. It's just about a half-mile stretch. There's an audio recording that a really famous voice, who's my father, recorded and helped us with. But we're super excited about it. We hope that the community enjoys it, and hopefully it's one that will be looked to each year, and we'll
Can you
obviously build
explain
on
a
it.
little bit more what it is?
Yeah, so the basis really of what it was we wanted to do something that would honor our veterans. And so rather than doing it on Veterans Day, we're gonna try to do it prior to it. This year, we're focusing on the importance of the flag, learning a little bit about what it is, what a moment of silence is. And then we have some local pictures that we have from our historic archives of veterans from our community that will be displayed that they can see. And then it'll talk through just some of the symbolism in the flag and where it came from. We'll have 200 flags that are lined up along the trail, and they're spaced every 13 feet, just for that symbolic 13 stripes or 13 colonies, so there's just some little things that way. And then we'll teach a little bit about the branches of the military. They'll hear their songs. And then really just inviting people to talk and learn more about our veterans and why, a veteran may look at a flag and it maybe means more to them, and hopefully foster some communication with some young people or, our older generation, whoever it is. So, and then at the end, we'll have some donation bins for people that want to donate clothes or food or different items, and then we'll get those to like a VA hospital or a veteran association. So
this is along the trail from 4th to 12th.
yep, and you'll start on 12th North.
Oh, and go south.
And then go south.
Okay.
Yep, it's about 7 minutes is the drive time. So it's pretty quick, but there'll be a lot of information in that time, so we're excited for it.
Great,
So,
thank you.
And then on December 2nd is our Lights On. So make sure you get that in your calendar. Now that it's finally getting cold, it kind of feels like we should be doing that. But we're ahead of schedule on the lights. The guys have been working really hard, so we're hopeful that we'll wrap those up earlier than normal. And then we're also adding some different decorations in Memorial Hall and on the outside to kind of help brighten it up a little bit. Sometimes it gets a little dark over there as people are going to visit the big Santa. So that's all I got.
Great, thank you. Bryce, you can go ahead and do your administrative report, and then we will have you introduce the auditor
Perfect.
who's just arrived.
Okay.
And this will be our action item number 7 on the agenda.
I've just got one administrative report for the RAP tax that was voted on yesterday. It is 2,200 for and 2,000 against, so it has passed. And it has not been canvassed yet, so we're 14 days. We'll keep an eye on that and keep
Those
you
numbers again,
updated
please.
with that. Currently 2,200 for, 2,000 against. That's very
Yeah.
rough. Those aren't audited numbers.
348 or something.
Say that louder. It's about,
Well, still about 200 votes apart. Yeah.
so for the next 14 days, we'll see if any changes happen there. Okay, and then for our action item, as I mentioned a few meetings ago, our auditor, Greg Ogden, has retired, and I just wanted to note that he's done a lot for the city, and we appreciate all the work and effort that he's put in for Mapleton City. Fortunately, we had started having a relationship and started to get to know HBME, and specifically we've been working with Aaron, and he had been helping us with some consulting prior to Greg's retirement. He's done a great job and is very good at his job. So we hired him this year to help with the audit, and we appreciate the help that he's done. He still provides some consulting and does our auditing as well. So I just want to point out some items in the financial statements. If you have them in front of you, go ahead and scroll to page 16. So the general fund has some the unassigned reserves within the general fund. We are at $3,459,000. Those are kind of, we've treated them currently as our backup reserves, just kind of as our safety net, and we'll continue to do that until you guys instruct us otherwise. But that's a great backup to have, and that's 29% of our revenues. So as we've seen in years past, that 35% is a good problem to keep having. But this year we were able to transfer some funds so that we avoided that state issue. And then in our capital projects fund, we have $5,145,000 of impact fees. Most of that is for our parks and is assigned to parks, and we'll be discussing at our retreat how we're going to propose utilizing that. And we've had some good discussions with you already, but those will be a little deeper discussions. And then in our assigned for future use, for future capital projects, we've got $11,123,000. And again, that's going to be discussed in our retreat, but we could spend that quite quickly, and we'll show you some projects that are planned. So I just wanted to draw your attention to those items. And with that said, I'll turn the time over to Aaron.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. Yes, it has been very nice to work with Bryce these past couple years, and he does a great job. He knows the numbers well, and I like to use the term audit warm fuzzies. That's kind of what when I come to a client, I want to feel good about the situation, and I can do that fairly quickly by asking questions of staff, and I can gauge their knowledge, their understanding of the policies and procedures, just by having a conversation for about 5 minutes. And if I have that certain comfort level, then I know that during the audit, I know that the numbers are reconciled or that there's a good job being done. And I definitely have that here. And I just wanted to report that to you. So again, my name is Aaron Hickson. I am a partner with HBME. We're a firm that been around for about 40 years. We're in Bountiful, Utah. And we were engaged to do the audit services for the year ended June 30th, 2024. We issued our opinion, and if you want to follow along, I will let you know where I am. If you don't want to, that's fine. I know that this is usually the most riveting part of any meeting when you talk finances, and especially an audit report. But I love this part of the audit is presenting it and creating the financial statements. On page 1 is our opinion. This is the only part of the audit that we can technically claim as ours. We issued an unmodified opinion. That is the highest opinion that can be given by an independent auditor. And it says that we did not find any misstatements that should be corrected. We are also required to gain an understanding of the control environment, which we did, and we feel that it is well designed and that it operates effectively in the areas that we looked at. I am going to base much of my remarks on the MD&A, which is the Management's Discussion and Analysis. This is for the layman, the non-accountant, it reads like that instead of just a lot of mumbo-jumbo and technical talk in the footnotes. It's also the only place in the financial statements that has comparative information, and so you can see current year and prior year, and that's why I will talk about it. But on page 7, there is a summary of your balance sheet, and I wanted to highlight a couple things. One, during the year, at the end of the year, there was an inter-fund loan, payable and receivable, between the general fund and the community network fund, and this was to fund the furthering of the project. And also there were bonds issued for approximately $10 million, and this is also being used for that same network. And that explains the increases there. On page 8, you'll see a summary of your income statement, and I wanted to note that one of your largest increases over the year was just capital grants and contributions. Most of that is a $2 million grant from the ARPA, and that will be tested at a later date. When you spend at least $750,000 of federal monies in a year, it requires a single audit. Good news is that next year it will go to $1 million. So I guess that's good news, right? And the other thing that I wanted to highlight is we are required to do certain state legal or state audit compliance requirements as directed by the state auditor's office. And there are certain procedures that we are required to do every year, and there are certain procedures that they want us to do every third year. One of the requirements that we look at every year is the equity of every individual fund must be in a positive situation. You'll note that your community network fund does have a deficit equity position of approximately $1.7 million. This is due to additional expenditures for the network that were not budgeted for, but we are required to report it this way, and there was an interfund, that loan that we talked about, because it is a balance sheet, you did not gift any money to the community network fund. It doesn't show up as revenue, therefore it's not increasing your income to alleviate this. I am certain that this is going to be remedied through future revenue sources as the network becomes fully operational. I am almost certain that you will not hear from the state about this. This has an automatic requirement of budgeting at least 5% of the revenues to alleviate this over time. And that is being remedied right now. And so when we send that finding to the state, it will have the responsive management that will say, here is what we have done and here's what we will continue to do. It's probable that it will be there at the end of next year. Is that the case, Bryce? And so it's not going to be a problem. I know the word finding can be uncomfortable for some people. I've done this long enough that I'm not uncomfortable with certain findings, especially because sometimes the debits and credits just require a certain presentation that have to happen, and it doesn't mean that there's a problem.
They don't tell the whole story.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I think it's important, can I just add, just for the record, that it is anticipated that loan will begin to be paid back in 2028, is that right?
Yeah.
Or
And so
27 here within the next couple of years. There is a timeline affixed to that payback.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect. And so that is the only finding that we will issue in written finding. Just so you know, as we go through an audit, we see areas of improvements and minor things that we discuss with management that do not merit being written down or even coming to this body, and so we don't bring them to this body. As long as you are using humans, you will deal with human error. That is just part of life. So human error is not a problem, especially if it's areas that are caught. And so a good system does not always prevent things from happening. It corrects them real time. And so when we see or hear Bryce say, oh yeah, this was a mistake that was made, and then we saw that and corrected it by the end of the month, all is well. In fact, that shows us that you have a good system that catches problems and fixes them real time, and you move on.
One comment on that too, maybe Bryce, you can shed some light on it, but it went through the approval process. It's just a matter of the way it was set up in your accounting part of it.
Yeah, so you guys have approved
Come up here.
You have approved the loan, and because it's a loan, it's showing up that way. If we gifted the money, then it wouldn't have showed up that way. But it's one of those things that, yeah, we do need to treat this like a loan for other rules that we've got to follow for the fiber system.
And because it's an internal loan, it's not shown on the income statement.
Correct.
And so that's the broader story of why it's accounted for. The way
There
it
will
is.
be pieces, for instance, when you loan money to yourself, you are required to charge a nominal interest rate. Even though the payback period does not begin for future years, there will be an accrued interest earned. That small portion will show up on the income statement as a revenue in one fund and as an expense in another. But you are correct in that. And so that is the nuts and bolts of the audit report. And again, I commend the city and the good job that is done to make sure that the numbers are right. It is phenomenal that as I'm going through and helping create this report, every single time I asked Bryce something, he knew about it or how to get the answer really quickly. And that does not always happen. And I know that that is a compliment that is hard to understand because you don't see what it's like everywhere. But there are some times where I just get a deer in the headlight, like I have no idea how to find that information. And it's not that way with Bryce. And so it's important for me to let you know that. So I'm happy to field any questions that any of you have. And otherwise, that is it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
No, I just say thank you for coming and helping us out. And
Yeah.
stepping into this role, and we appreciate the good report.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the audit report as has been presented.
Second.
A motion to accept the report has been made by Councilmember Garrett and seconded by Councilmember Egbert.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Reed? We may have lost Reed. Okay.
Well, Egbert, yes.
No lights on, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, lights off. Okay, Egbert, yes. Okay, motion passes. We've had our administrative report. Oh, Chief Jackson, you weren't here when we did administrative
Sorry, I was out
reports.
goofing off. Sorry about that.
Oh, man.
Ours is just real quick. Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday, is our did you already say this? Did you
Yeah,
already?
but you can add detail to it.
Okay.
Add detail about.
I just realized Jessica's probably already covered this, but Tuesday night, the winter safety event. And you didn't know this part, so I will add this, but our Public Works is gonna come and park a snow plow out here and let the people look at this plow and it's Gurney, right? And talk a little bit about some measures that they go through. So I'm kind of excited to have that down there. So thanks for organizing that, Rob. So, okay, it just hit me, you probably already covered that.
Perfect, thank you so much. So we have a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Garrett, yes.
Aye. Okay, have a good night.